Srimate Ramanujaya Namaha. With some prayer, we just start with prayer. Okay? This is the Om Asmadgurubhyo Namaha. Sri on? It is okay. Om Asmadgurubhyo Namaha. Srimate Ramanujaya Namaha. Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu Ma Vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Sangachadvam Sambadadvam Sambho Manasi Janatam Deva Bhagam Yatha Purve Sanjnana Upasate.
Hello?
Jai hello? Yeah. Samano mantraha samiti samani samanam manaha sahachittamesham samanam mantram abhimantraye yavaha samane navo havisha juhomi samani va akudihi samani va akudihi Samani va akudihi samana hridayani vaha samana mastuvo mano yatava susahasati. This Vedic prayer, we start today's program, and its meaning is come together, speak together, let our mind be all of one accord as the gods of old. They sat together in harmony to worship. Let our speech be one, united our voices. May our minds be in union with the thoughts of the wise. Sharing a common purpose, we worship as one. Let our aim be one and single. Let our hearts, Let our hearts be joined as one, united be our thoughts. As peace with all may we be together in harmony. Dear devotees, today being the second Saturday, 99th second Saturday of Tara Devi Memorial Lecture Day, we have invited Dr. R. Narayan Swamiji from Los Angeles. And you know Srini, through Srini only we got your contact. So I request Srini to say just Namaskaram. Says Srini is here. Yeah.
Namaskaram, Srini. And I have not met Satya, but namaskaram to you all too.
Yes, thank you so much. So good meeting you after hearing your voice. We're so blessed. Simhalu will give, my brother is giving the introduction.
Okay.
Yeah, please. Yeah.
Hi. Dr. R. Narayana Swami was born and brought up in Tripunithura, Kerala State, India. He graduated from Tripunithura Boys High School and got his BSc Engineering degree from the College of Engineering, Trivandrum, MTech from the IIT Institute of Technology, Chennai, and PhD from Texas Tech University, Lubbock, Texas, USA. He was awarded the prestigious National Research Council, National Science Foundation, postdoctoral fellowship for research at the NASA Lange Research Center in Virginia for 2 years. He spent a further 3 years at NASA Langley as a research scientist. As a research scientist. He was the founder chairman of 3 successful companies. The first company, CSAR Corporation, was an intellectual property based company that developed the CSA Nastran software program with advanced specialized capabilities for engineering analysis used by space, aerospace, and automotive companies worldwide. The second and third companies were services based, CSM Software Private Limited and CSM Software USA LLC. All 3 companies were successful and sold to multinational corporate buyers. He is presently fully retired from professional work. He had his Upanayana Diksha before he turned 11 years of age and was taught the family Siva Puja practices by his father soon thereafter. He has been a Vedic practitioner since that time. He had further Vedic studies under Guru Cochin Srinivas Iyer and continues such studies by Swadhyaya or self-learning and study. He has taught the Dashopanishads, the 10 major Upanishads, in a 4-year period in the early 2000s and the Vedas for the past 20 years to his friends in the Westlake Village area. During his intense personal search since 2007 to understand the wisdom in the Vedas, he had a by chance meeting in 2012 with Professor R.L. Kashyap, who introduced him to the spiritual and psychological meanings of the wisdom in the Vedas. He has been doing research on the Vedas under Professor Kashyap since that meeting and has taught spirituality and wisdom aspects of the Veda Samhitas to his friends. He guided and edited the Malayalam translation of the 4 Essentials series booklets of Professor Kashyap on the Rig Veda, Yajurveda, Samaveda and the Atharva Veda. Dr. Narayana Swami is now an author as well. His book, Understanding the Vedas, was published by Amazon as a Kindle ebook for worldwide distribution, including by Amazon India on October 15, 2020. The paperback version was released by Amazon on Feb 13, 2020 for USA. 2021 for USA, Japan, UK, and the Europe marketplaces, but not for India. Sakshi Trust is publishing the book in India and releasing the book on March 15th, 2020. That's 2 days from now. The talk on Saturday, March 13th for our Sri Pravachana Goshti is the outgrowth of his lifelong Veda practices and his study, research and lectures on the Vedas and will include discussions of salient sections from his book.
We welcome Dr. R. Narayan Swamiji. Jai Sri Radha.
I will start with some invocation prayers. Om Sri Gurubhyo Namaha Harihi Om Ganana Tva Ganapadigam Havamahe Kavim Kavinam Upamasravastamam Jeshtarajam Brahmanam Brahmanaspata Ana Srinvanyotibhissida Sadhanam Om Shri Mahaganapataye Namaha Prano Devi Saraswati Vajebir Vajinevatu Dhinamavitriyavatu Om Shri Mahasaraswatyai Namaha Tyambagam Yajamahe Sugantim Pushtivardhanam Urvarukamiva Bandhanan Mrityot Mukshiyamamritaat Om Sri Triambaga Mrityunjaya Devatayai Namo Namaha Idam Vishnur Vichakrame Tredani Dade Padam Samodamasya Bhagam Sure Krishna 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 Om Bhurguvasuvaro. Usually I start all Veda classes and all my Veda students start with these 4 invocation mantras. But today, since I am addressing the SRI Pravachana Goshti, I am adding one more mantra. Tadvishno paramam padam sada pashyanti surayah diviva chakshuradatam praso vipanyao jagrivagam sasamindade Vishnorya paramam padam. As I said, all Veda classes we start with invocation. The first mantra is Gana. All 5 mantras, by the way, are Rig Veda mantras. The first one, Gananam Tva mantra, is Rig Veda, second mandala, 23rd sukta, first mantra. Pranav Devi mantra is Rig Veda, 6th mandala, 61 sukta, 4th mantra. Vyambakam Yajamahe mantra is the 7th mandala, 59th sukta, 12th mantra. Jam Vishnu Vijakrame is first mandala, 22nd sukta, 17th mantra. And the last, Tat Vishnu Paramam Padam Sada Pashyanti Suryaha, that mantra is Rigveda mandala sukta, first sukta, 22nd, first mandala, 22nd sukta, 20 and 21. The 5th mantra, Tadvishnu Paramam Padam, that Vishnu's supreme padam, Sada Pashyanti Suryaha. All these Sattvic experts are Sada, are always looking at that Paramam Padam. Diviva Chakshuradam, as though their eyes are connected from earth all the way to heaven. So, Tadvishnu Paramam Padam, may all attendees have our sights just like that Suryaha. They are able to see that. Let us all see that Vishnu Paramam Padam from earth, as though our eyes are connected from earth to heaven as a straight line. So with these mantras, I begin this talk. First, I express my appreciation to Dr. Satyavati Kandala and Srini, both of whom I have met when they were here in LA in the early 2001, 2002 time frame. They are, from that time onwards, our association meet every week at the Malibu Balaji Temple for Abhishekam, and we'll have a chat that time. Every Saturday we used to meet. Then afterwards they left from here to Seattle and New York, and now they are in Chicago. Their other brother I have not seen, but Dr. Satyavati has said that both of them are together are doing this Pravachana Goshti. This is a wonderful and excellent selfless seva, and I am so pleased to reconnect with Dr. Satyavati, Srini, and their brother and their others, and all of them doing such what can be a greater pleasure than being associated with Sattvic Seva for all those things. And I have selected this topic as understanding the Vedas for today's talk. Both as you heard in the introduction, I have published a book recently, last October, by Kindle ebook. Then the paperback was published last month. Now in India, it will be published by Sakshi Trust in a couple of days' time. Now, talking about understanding the Vedas to SRI Pravachana Goshti may appear as, that is not necessary. They are all very knowledgeable people. They are all always on seva to Sriman Narayana, chanting Vishnu Sahasranama. What else you want with the seva? Sharanagati to Sriman Narayana, Vishnu Sahasranama, Parayana, all other sevas. So on top of that, what am I going to add on the Vedas? So that was a point that was a particular concern to me. They are all familiar with all the teachings of Ramanuja, Deshikar, Acharya, Divya Prabandham, Nammalvar, Pasurams, and almost daily to those people, what am I going to talk about Veda? Will it be like carrying coal to Newcastle? As though Newcastle is the place where there is always coal. Why do you need to carry coal to Newcastle? Just like to such sevakas and who have all taken Sharanagati. And what is that? Nonetheless, I have the title of my book, Understanding the Vedas. It has a subtitle called Highlighting the Spirituality and Wisdom in the Vedas. To many people who have heard about Veda, because none of us have had a formal study or education in Veda. So our understanding of Veda, and there are several reasons we can say. First of all, Vedas are in ancient Sanskrit, not the today's classical Sanskrit. The ancient Sanskrit people are not, now most Sanatana Dharma followers are not knowledgeable in Sanskrit. And even though I have studied Sanskrit in high school and college, that many Sanatana Dharma have not studied. And even if you have studied Sanskrit and you have a graduate degree in Sanskrit, that may or may not be adequate for you to fully understand the meanings of the words in Sanskrit. Everyone has heard about Vedas from their parents, from their read the books, they have read the Puranas, they have heard the stories, and they have read some English translations, especially the everybody knows the Rig Veda, Yajurveda, Samaveda, Atharva Veda, and the divisions in the Vedas as Samhitas, Brahmanas, Aranyakas, and Upanishads. However, most of the people have obtained their knowledge of the Vedas from the English translations of Max Muller, Wilson, and Griffiths. And to say the least, these English translations have many times been fairly critical because the Veda Samhitas and the Veda Mantras have multiple meanings. Three meanings Madhvacharya, Yaska, and Madhvacharya have stated that Veda Mantras have three meanings: Adi Bhautika, Adi Daivika, and Adhyatmic meanings. And the only meanings that Max Muller, Wilson, and Griffith had with them was the Sainacharya's translations of Vedartha Prakasha in the 14th century that provided the direct or external word meanings only. And the direct external word meanings in many places do not make much sense. So therefore, in places where these English authors could not understand the meaning, they never know they understood the Adhyatmic meanings were not even known to them. Even the direct meanings are not making much sense. For example, there will be a statement in Rig Veda which said, Indra broke the hill and saved the cows. Where the hill means ignorance and the cows, the go, has the knowledge, meaning it has Adhyatmic meaning wise, the hill, Andri means insentient or darkness and lack of knowledge. So Indra breaking the hill means remove your ignorance and go has is a knowledge. It has a Adhyatmic meaning. So with multiple meanings, yeah, unless you understand the Adhyatmic meanings, you will not be able to fully understand the Vedas. So these English translations did not provide a good meaning for Vedas, and they concluded that these Vedas are rituals, it has no wisdom, and these rishis, they use symbols many times, and because of those statements, conclusions, the people thought that the Vedas are lack of wisdom, and at the same time, the categorization of Samhitas and Brahmanas as Karmakanda and Aranyakas as Jnanakanda meant that many of our youngsters and the elites and intellectuals, we don't want to go after any rituals that has no wisdom. So let us go to Jnana. And some of them pursued study of Vedanta. And many others left altogether. With the result that the Vedas have not properly been understood by many people. So with all these points, I am going to say, with all these things, the study of Veda Samhitas, and even those who have studied Vedas from their acharyas, they have learned the correct chanting. The Vedas from the days of origin, I in my book quote many references at 6000 BCE or earlier, and I have provided a continuous growth of the various texts that came out from the Vedas to all the way to 2020 in my book. There is a historical narrative I have given. So in that process, the Purvamimamsaka of Gemini stated that the correct chanting of the Veda mantra and the performance of the karma, the yajna, will provide the intended benefit of doing the yajna. So the Veda Padashalas and all Veda teachers emphasize only the correct chanting. And we have brought and I will tell you later in the talk how the Vedas were preserved from such early days of 6000 BCE or earlier to our present day. It is uniformly agreed that the Veda mantras have been preserved exactly in its chanting without errors. And we will see how they preserved that, what all methods they had used, and all that I will discuss later. But let's proceed with the main narrative of what I want to convey. So, the sum total of all these aspects is that not much people know the Adhyatmic meanings, which is what is needed to bring out the wisdom in the Vedas. And once we provide the Adhyatmic meanings and the wisdom in the Vedas, that is my purpose, to communicate a gist of that in the next, during this session. I want to take you through what I mean by the wisdom and the spirituality and wisdom in the Vedas. I want to highlight, because this conventional messaging of Karmakanda, rituals devoid of wisdom, you will get the correct chanting of the mantras will get you the benefits for the particular yajna. So you get to the material prosperity, and our youngsters and elites and intellectuals say, no, I can get by work hard and I get whatever material prosperity that is enough. I don't want to for that. So our children are not studying the Veda Samhitas. And those who study the Veda Samhitas also do not know the meaning. They are more in the correct chanting of the Vedas. So with all these difficulties, and with the English translation saying that some of the symbolisms used by our rishis, and they decide to say that, oh, rishis are nomadic, illiterates, they did not know what they are saying. So the 19th century translation, even though we are glorifying Max Muller with a Max Muller Bhavan in Chennai, Max Muller has not done a very good job of explaining all the things, because he himself may or may not have known. But in addition, whether they had other agendas, we do not know. Nonetheless, the bottom line is, in the land of the rishis, in India mainly, what was once considered as the original books of wisdom, the world has seen. That is how Vedas were promoted. The original books of wisdom, the world has seen. No other books of, and many other religions that came later have used many of these ideas from the Vedas. That Vedas, by 19th century, in the last couple of centuries, is considered as ritualistic and karmakanda. And I was deeply searching. This cannot be, because if that is the case, then Vedas would not have survived unless there is profound and lasting wisdom in the Vedas. The Vedas would not have survived all these years. So there is profound and lasting wisdom. I need to search and find that out. And lo and behold, 100 years ago, around 1914, Sri Aurobindo explained the spiritual and psychological aspects of Veda mantras. And Professor Kashyap, Aurobindo, he was followed by Kapali Shastri. He wrote some publications, and studying Aurobindo and Kapali Shastri, Professor Kashyap has translated all the Veda mantras into English in 26 volumes. And I have been working with Professor Kashyap, and I want to share that wisdom. So with this background, let us see what. So first, before I introduce, I want to say at the very beginning, I know most of you are doing the Seva, the Sharanagati, and your Divya Prabandham, the Pasurams, Vishnu Sadhana, all those. Please continue whatever you are continuing. If you are able to add anything more from this talk, or by studying my book, some of the more details are there. In this 1 hour, I will not be able to explain everything what I have written in the book, but I will be bringing in the salient points of the spirituality and wisdom. So, but it must be very clearly understood. All listeners must continue what you are doing, whatever your acharyas have taught you, whatever your family traditions are, the Seva, the Sharanagati, they are all superb, and they have tremendous power of their own. Whatever I am going to talk in this one, please consider whatever you like to add into your practice. Those who are not doing the Seva or Sharanagati, and who are neither studying, doing any Seva, nor doing any Veda mantras, to them, I encourage them to start learning Veda mantras, go to your Acharya, learn the Veda mantras, and study and practice, because there is tremendous benefit and power. So with this background, I want to provide what I consider to be an authentic way of understanding the Vedas. At the very beginning, I am going to tell you, so if whatever I said are not authentic, so tell me first, in your own words, what is so authentic, what is the spirituality and what is the wisdom that you have discovered? First tell me, then you describe, take me through that. So that is the way I'm going to structure this talk. So I am going to say that Veda is a spiritual document that helps you to reach all-round perfection and gradually rise, remove all your tamasic nature, become more and more into the powers of light, the Devas. The Devas and Dasyus are the two groups who help you to Devas. Deva, come the word, Sanskrit word Div. Div, to shine. So they are powers of light. Devas we must not translate as God, because Devas is not a translatable. Rajiv Malhotra has written a recent book, Sanskrit and non-translatables, and Deva is one. Deva is not a God. The Devas are powers of light. And they will help you too. So, I am first giving the conclusion of the spirituality and wisdom. Vedas help you to achieve all-round perfection, at the same time removing the darkness within you and increasing, becoming powers of light within you, and increasing levels of consciousness that you will rise from the earth where we are all living, rise in consciousness level and reach all the way to the seventh station, that Parampadam, Vishnoho Parampadam, and achieve triple infinity. I repeat again, Vedas are spiritual documents. Veda Samhitas are spiritual documents that show you how to attain all-round perfection. Mark this word, all-round perfection. Even if we take a person like Albert Einstein, he may have achieved the greatest level, theory of relativity and all that, but that is a perfection in one field. Veda says that is not enough. You can reach all-round perfection in all fields, in any venture that you try, in any attempt that you do. All-round perfection. At the same time, you can pursue whatever your professional karma. So if we classify the karma as professional karma and sacred karma, we have taken birth in this world to do our professional karma, but we must also do the sacred karma of studying the Vedas and the Vedic powers. And then by that powers of Devas and Rishis, our tamasic nature will drop, our powers of light will increase, our consciousness level will increase, and we can attain. So you can have everything, and there is no separation between family life and your rising in consciousness levels and attaining the Parampadam. So this is what says, how are we are going to do this? The starting point is Vedas consist of Veda mantras. While many of us have learned Veda mantras, we chant suktas, and we chant Namakam Chamakam and all suktas and all the mantras in the Taittiriya Samhita and Rigveda Purusha Sukta, all those we chant. All these mantras we chant with the devotion, with sincerity, but we still do not fully understand the power of the mantras. Mantra has come from the Sanskrit word Mananat Trayate iti mantra. That means Trayate, protection, Mananat, by mind, protection by mind. So if mantra has, if you will be protected by mind, mind is the cause for most of our problems. So here it says, Mananath Trayate, that is why it is called a mantra. And these mantras are located in Parime Vyoman along with Vishnu Padam in that 7th station. So how did we get the mantras? These wise persons who lead a spiritual life and who do meditation, they attain super consciousness states. During that time, they are able to hear the mantra that is in the Parime Vyoman, or they can see. They are also mantra drashtas, mantra shrotras and mantra drashtas. They can see the mantras. Analogous to our youngsters, we can say cloud computing. Your data is in the cloud and you have a password. What we are saying here, what our rishis are saying here is, the mantras are there also in cloud, but you need a password. And that password comes with your sattvic living, deep meditation. You may rise to the super consciousness, and then you can see and read the mantras. And these rishis, these persons, wise persons, they see the mantras and they left out the mantras, and their disciples write it down. And when the rishi and the person comes out of the super conscious state, he looks at the mantras, checks for the chandas and all that, and accepts them. Some of them may be part of this thing, they throws away, and that he becomes a rishi. Anyone who has received a mantra is known as a rishi. And we have 400 rishis in Rigveda. 30 of them are lady rishis. So there is no bar for ladies to do the meditation, to get the mantras. Lady Vagambrani, many lady rishis are there, 30 of them. And these rishis come from all varnas. Not only Brahmin varna, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra. Because even though the varnas later entered caste and it became hereditary, that is not what the varnas were intended for. People who have the proficiency and qualifications to of memory power and study to learn Vedas, the assigned section of the Vedas by heart. People have learned completely, spent their lifetime reading. That is why by Guru Shishya Parampara, we brought the Veda mantras over here, and I'll show you how many ways the mantras were learned by them. So these rishis and these mantras, and even our current Veda chanters themselves do not know the power of mantra. Sri Aurobindo had, the mantras can not only protect, the mantras allow you to see. Mantras have a power. Mantras help the chanter to see the world or thought beyond the senses. Whatever is we can see by the senses, we don't need mantra. But the mantra will allow you to see the thought and the world beyond your senses. In other words, supra-physical. You get the power. This supra-physical, the contact with the supra-physical world, endows the person who sees a certain power, the intensity of which varies from person to person, depending upon the depth of his sincerity, the depth of his understanding, the depth of his seeking, all this together. And Sri Aurobindo adds, mantra can not only create new subjective states, alter our physical being, reveal knowledge and faculties we did not possess before. These are all the powers of mantra. By chanting Veda mantra daily, all these things can accrue to you. But he says it can also produce vibrations in the mental and physical and vital atmosphere, and even production of material forms in the physical plane. So much power, but it depends upon the different levels of the people that who have all these. All these are described in detail in my book. The next point to note is that the mantra has three meanings: Adi Baudik, Adi Devik, and Adhyatmik. The Adi Baudik is the external or direct meaning. Now, for example, if you take a familiar mantra, Apo va idagam sarvam vishwa bhutanyavaha pranava apaha pachava apaha annamapaha amrdamapaha samradavaha viradavaha svaradavaha chandagisyavaha jyotigisyavaha ilyugisyavaha satyamapaha sarva devata apaha urgosvarapo om. If you simply look at the external meaning, Apa, everyone Sanskrit with a little knowledge of Sanskrit, you will say Apa is water. So then Apo va idagam sarvam, everything that you see around is Apa, water. But what we fail to understand is, in the Adhyatmic sense, Apa means energy. So if you use the Adhyatmic meaning, then the same mantra has little bit more power. So the Adhyatmic meaning must be understood. Unfortunately, from the Rishis knew all these, but Rishis never documented all this. Rishis taught their disciples, who later on became Rishis, this inner meaning, this Adhyatmic meaning, this subtle meanings. And after how the Rishi period, here I want to bring in a small historical context. From 6000 BC, all at that time, Rishis were family members. Then they are also helping the other people in the community. They're doing meditation. They'll be training their disciples, and they will meditate, and they will become Rishis. They will get mantras. And this went on from 6000 BC to about 4000 BC or so. By that time, things started becoming more and more activities started, and the people had other opportunities like farming, trading. And you think 4000 BC, 3000 BC. Around that time, the Rishis thought that if this is the only way, this Adhyatmic meaning is alone explained, and when people are not coming, unless we connect and introduce this external yajna, these Vedas will be lost to humanity. So they said, introduce the external yajna, whereby the 10 or 15% of the high intellectual people who wanted to pursue the meditation and to become Rishis still continued to be with the senior Rishis. They learned under him and they practiced that, and they became Rishis. But the other 80-90% will do the external yajna. And both the initiates, the top 10% of the people to whom the inner meaning and all was explained by the Rishis, and the other 90% helping them to conduct the yajna and get the benefit, was done by the same person, rishis. But towards the end of the Vedic period, there were not enough people to become rishis, and the rishi clan came to an end. Immediately afterwards, there were two sets of people, one group teaching the inner meaning, another group teaching the external and the external meaning. But fairly soon thereafter, the inner meaning people also left. So what we ended up was external meaning only around 3000 BCE. And fairly soon thereafter, Jaimini proposed the Purva Mimamsa, the correct chanting will obtain the benefit of the yajna. So everyone was concentrating on the correct chanting and the yajna, and the whole inner meaning and adhyatmic meaning disappeared. And in the 13th century, Madhvacharya, he said that Vedas have these three meanings: Adi Baudik, Adi Devik, Adhyatmik. And he even translated the first 42 suktas of Rig Veda with all three meanings. But, and even today it is very famous, Rig Bhashya of Madhvacharya of the 13th century. However, that was only 42 suktas. Rig Veda has 1028 suktas. Then there is Krishna Yajurveda, then Shukla Yajurveda, then Samaveda. Of course, Samaveda contains most mantras from Rig Veda. Then Atharva Veda. But there was nobody to follow his instructions. But in the next century, 14th century, Sayana Acharya was the prime minister of the Vijayanagar Empire. He was also a student of the Sringeri Mutt. He organized a team of 100 Veda and Sanskrit scholars and decided to translate all the Veda mantras, pada by pada, provide the meaning, translate the complete Rig Veda, all Vedas, and Vedartha Prakasha, Sayanacharya's Vedartha Prakasha. It is a great contribution for the very first time. So understand this. From 6000 BC or earlier is our beginning of the Vedic period. All the way up to 14th century CE, almost 7500 years, there were no written meanings of the Veda mantras at all. Sayanacharya's is, in that sense, it is a magnum opus, Vedartha Prakasha, the light on the Artha of Veda. Vedartha Prakasha is the title of the book published by him. However, while it is a great contribution and it has benefited everybody from that time onwards, however, in retrospect today, when we look back, Sayanacharya emphasized only the external word meanings and the external yajna. He stated, even though these Veda mantras have adhyatmic meanings, I concentrate only on the external meanings and external yajna. So, the Purva Mimamsa of Jaimini and Sayanacharya's Vedartha Prakasha from 14th century. If you look back, it is only 700 years. 14th century, 1367 or so about 750 years ago, is the world seeing the very first complete. Of course, it was also in Sanskrit. The meaning is also in Sanskrit because everything is Sanskrit in those days. And all the Veda Pathashala, and he was a Sringeri's student also, Sayanacharya. So it was well accepted. The trouble came when the English translation, Max Muller, of course, we do not want to get into that he was a paid employee of the British East India Company, and they had their own agenda. Proselytization was going on in India heavily. So what all was the other agenda, we do not know. We know what Macaulay said in 1835, but without getting into any of these things, simply looking at the external or direct meanings, where things were not clear, these English translations of Max Muller, then Wilson and Griffith of Britain, they all wrote English translations, and their students and all that. So many English translators came, and they made many skeptical and negative, oh, this doesn't make any sense. This is what is the tearing the hill and getting the cows out. Where is wisdom in that one? The problem is that they did not understand the Adhyatmic meaning. There is wisdom there, but they said this has no wisdom. So people who followed English translation like that until this Acharya came, Aurobindo came. So even though Madhvacharya said in 13th century, the very next centuries, Sayanacharya is the magnum opus who published this Vedartha Prakasha, and everyone followed that. Even though in 17th century, Raghavendra Swami, a Shishya of the Dvaita school, he also Vedartha Manchari. But again, there were nobody to follow it up. And the English translations did a major negative imaging, and all those intellectuals, elites who went to English education, all of us all concluded that Vedas are rituals, just no meaning. And by that time, this Vedanta division was all there. It went like this. Then came Aurobindo in the 20th century, in 1912. And Aurobindo explained that Vedas have spirituality and psychological powers. Vedas consist of devas. You would have all heard there are Vedic gods and the later Puranic gods. And the Vedic gods, of course, most of you would have heard this mantra, Ekam Sad, Vipra Bahuda Vadanti, Vipra Bahuda Vadanti, Agnim, Indram, Mitram Varunam Ahu. Ekam Sad, Ekam, Tadekam, that one, which of course later became the Brahman of the Upanishads. Ekam Sat. Reality is only one. Ekam. Ekam Sat. Vipra Bahuda Vadanti. Knowledgeable people, learned people, Bahuda Vadanti. Describe that one by various ways. What are the ways? Agni, Indra, Mitra, Varuna, Aditi, Saraswati. They are all the same, but it is all Ekam Sat. And Aurobindo said that all these devas have psychological powers. That was another observation by they are spiritual, they are powers of light, they have psychological powers. And here I want to go directly to my book, Table 8, on page 180. I describe the psychological power, Agni. The physical association of Agni is fire, but Agni's psychological power is divine willpower. Not only willpower, many people say, oh, I am a very strong-willed man. My way or the highway. No. Agni is divine willpower. Divine means he can look far ahead. And what is good to you now And later, that type of willpower Agni will give. Agni is in charge of aspiration and willpower, strength, calmness and happiness, audition and vision. And in fact, the very first mantra of Rigveda is Agnimi Ile Purohitam Yajnasya Deva Mritvijam Hota Aram Ratnadatamam Agni. Then Indra. Indra is an energy body as a physical association. He is the lord of the divine mind. Even though in the Puranas, we say Indra has sometimes sends other people to prevent somebody not completing. We know the Ambarisha story from Bhagavata. But the Indra of the Veda is a divine mind. And you invite Indra. Then Soma is the lord of delight. Varuna, lord of vastness. Mitra, friendship. Saraswati, divine inspiration. Vayu, lord of vital energies. Ashwins, divine physician. Surya, lord of inner light. And of course, Gayatri Mantra, Sabita. So, all these devas have psychological powers. Along with devas, there are dasyus. Dasyus, Vrutra, Vala, and Panis. And the purpose of dasyus are to prevent the powers of light and the energy, divine energies that are flowing from above to the human being. This use, you can approximately think about of this use as our Shadribus, Kama, Krodha, Lobha, Moha, Mada, Matsarya. And the only way to remove, say, all of us know, for example, anger is not a good thing. But however much you try to be, not to be angry, and you won't be angry as long as people are praising you. The first time someone says something that either you do not agree or you think that it is not a very favorable thing for you, you get angry. And who do you get angry? Mostly to your family members. You have to invite these devas. They only can beat these dasyus. So that is what Rigveda says. So there are the dasyus to remove also the devas. So this deva, with all this psychological power, so if everyone wants to have divine willpower. Without willpower, we will not be able to do. In fact, many times we start some work, say for example, I want to learn Sanskrit. With great enthusiasm, you go. After a few classes, it is very tough, or this thing, I don't have time. I have something else to do. Why this happens? Because you do not have the willpower. So, to develop the willpower, you need Agni. So, what Aurobindo says and what our Rishi says. No, Aurobindo is not saying. Aurobindo explained all these by these Adhyatmic meanings. But the Rishis have pointed out, shown by inviting Agni. And not only you will get divine willpower, in fact, Agnihoda is Kavikradu Satya Chitra Sasama. The first sukta is for Agni. Agni me Ilay Purohitam Yajnasya Deva Mritvijam Hodar Nadamam. That is the first one. Agnina Rei Vaishnavati Poshameva Dive Dive Yashasam Viravatamam. So many properties of Agni these rishis have found out. And rishis have also stated one other thing. These Veda mantras for Agni by chanting the Veda mantras, you can invite Agni to yourself. Agna ayahi vidaye trinano havyadadaye nihota satya barishi. That is the beginning of the Samaveda mantra. Ayahi. Similarly, Indrayahi chitrabano sutayime tvayavaha anvi ibistana pudasaha. Even if you don't know the mantra, simply say, Agna ayahi, Agni, oh Agni, you come to me. Indra, you come to me. And if we lead a sattvic life, like all of you are highly sattvic, doing seva to Sriman Narayana all the time, invite Agni, invite Deva. When by these chants, they will come and place an emanation of them into your subtle body. And if you continue to chant these Veda mantras, these emanations grow. Just like we plant a seed outside, then it sprouts, then it becomes a small plant, and after many years it becomes a tree. The same way, you get the Agni power. And Agni has a second, another great quality. Agni knows which other Deva must also come to you to minimize your weakness or minimize a certain tamasic associated with that. So he will invite those Devas. He will bring those Devas. Agnir hoda kavikrata satya chitra sastama devo deve viragad agamate. O Deva, bring other Devas also. He is a kavikradu, divine willpower. So Agni Indrayahi chitrabano Indrayahi diyeshido viprajudaha sudavadaha vabrahmani bhagadaha. So all these adjectives, Aurobindo explained what our rishis are saying, and rishis are saying. And this is a scientifically proven shastra, because different rishis during different periods of time, by chanting the Rigveda mantras for Agni, different people have gotten different Agni mantras. There are about 2,000 mantras for Agni. Almost all these 400 rishis have mantras, most of them have mantras for Agni. There are 2,500 mantras for Indra. So different persons at different times inviting the same power, and their recording, they got those benefits, same benefits, proves experimentally. So it is an experimental science. So our Veda is a Shastra. Shastra means a science. So inviting this, and they will remove the dasyus from us, and once these dasyus are the dasyus as our the powers of darkness that prevent these divine energies or divine willpower from being converged. Indra, by fighting these dasyus, there is this Bhagavata story, Indra and Vritra fight. Indra kills Vritra and all that. In Rigveda, it is a pattern of the Rigveda. There is a battles, symbolic battles between Indra and Vritra. So all those Shandribhus will go, the Devas will come, so the Tamasic will go, powers of light will come, so your consciousness will increase. And you don't have to do this 24/7. That is another beauty. You spend whatever time you have every day in the morning to do your prayer, to do your puja, then you carry on with your professional work. So, as the tamasic nature, as your divine mind, Indra places emanation, or Agni comes, the willpower, all these psychological power come, all these powers of darkness, dasyus are beaten and removed, and you see more and more light. So you see the job at hand a lot more clearly. So your success at the job, whatever your professional job is. So by learning the Vedas, your perfection levels start increasing gradually. And it takes time. Maybe we'll have to do many births to do that. But we will completely say, and then we will rise in consciousness levels and we will move. The second point is, the other point again that rishis have explained is, idam prithivya saptadamabihi. Prithivya saptadamabihi. From here to heaven, that Paramam Padam, there are 7 stations. And in fact, we have heard we have read in the Puranas that there are 14 logas, 7 logas above, Uhu, Bhuvaha, Suvaha, Mahaha, Janaha, Tapaha, Satyam. And in fact, in the Pranayama, Om Bhu, Om Bhuvaha, Ogam Suvaha, Om Mahaha, Om Janaha, Om Tapaha, Om Satyam. You are sending your air to divinization, to go there and come back and divine. That is what the purpose of the 7. And including starting from earth, the 7th. The 7th station, Satyaloka, is what Paramam Padam is there. Similarly, there are 7 Nithar worlds, Patalam, Talatala, Mahatala, all those things. That is the powers of darkness. So, as your Shadribhu's lesson, as the Devas, by the chanting of the mantras, by inviting the Devas, they place emanation, and you nurture the emanation by continuous sevas and the chanting of the mantras, and then you carry on with whatever your professional activities, your family life, everything is okay. And all your things, and you will attain. That is the all-round perfection. And again, in table 9, I give the 7 logas. And of course, there is also in section 7.6.2 in my book, I say, there is a equivalence between macrocosm, the outside 7. These 7 dhammas, these are all imaginary levels. You cannot physically travel. You cannot buy an airplane ticket and go to the 7th station. These are all physical, physically separated in consciousness level. So there is no way you can actually travel to those places, but you can rise in consciousness level to get there. It may not happen in one lifetime. It may take many lifetimes, but you gradually increase. Even a slight increase in your consciousness level will allow you to see the task at hand a lot more clearly. And when you see the task at hand more clearly, more easy to develop the solution. That is how the perfection living. It is not faith. Actually happens. So the 7 stations in this, and this is, so the goal of the Vedas is, and the Devas and Rishis will help you to remove your tamasic nature, the dasyus. It is the dasyus. However much you try on your own, I should not be angry next time. When things don't go your way, you will become angry. Only when the Devas are here, only when Agni and Indra is the only person who can defeat this Vritra and others. So only by chanting the Rigveda mantras for Indra and inviting him, Indra Ayahi, simply say Indra Ayahi, and lead us up to life, they will come and all that. So this is, I think I am coming to, how much time I have?
Time has no limit.
5:34. How much more time?
No limit.
Okay, so I'm almost there. I'll continue.
Please.
I'll try to stop it in the next 5 or 10 minutes. So
please.
I started with an overview of what the Vedas are. The purpose of the Vedas is to help each and every one of us attain all-round perfection. Again, mark the word, all-round perfection. Not perfection in the particular field, not perfection as an astrophysicist or a neuroscientist or your tax preparer, perfection in that one. No, sir. All-round, whatever activities you touch, all-round perfection. At the same time, remove, because everyone says that when all the dirt or tamasak is removed, the self shines itself. That is what Vedanta says. That is when you become self-realized. This also says you rise in consciousness levels and you get to the sensation. And as you say, Vishnoho Paramam Tad Vishnoho Paramam, that you can all get by this Veda. So this is the wisdom in the Vedas. And I will take a few minutes to say how they preserved the Veda mantras from 6000 BCE. In 3000 BCE, Veda Vyasa classified. So during the Rishi period, there is a Rishi, he has his own disciples, he gets these Veda mantras, he trains his people, some of them become Rishis, they get Veda mantras, and to all among that, in that area, all the mantras that Rishi and these people and all the obtained, they will be chanting that. At another grama or another village, there will be another Rishi, and with this, and each of them will chant those mantras, and there were no organization of these. And by 4000 BC, 3000 BCE, the Rishi period ended because there were not enough people to spend all their time into this one. Other activities were available. So it gradually went, and then it became, as I said, external yajna and all those things. Then these Veda Vyasa classified the Vedas into four: Rig Veda, Yajurveda, Samveda, Veda, and he assigned four of them: Paila, Vaishambhayana, Jaimini, and Sumanthu, to be in charge of this Veda. And each of them, with their Shishyas, were asked to learn this by heart, preserve this. And what deep insight, what great intellectuals were our Rishis. Because even though everyone says that nothing is written down and all that, if they were written down, all these invaders who came in the 998 AD, India was first attacked by Muhammad Ghazuni. These Arabs came in about 1000 AD, 1000 CE. From that time onwards, frequent Arab at this, then 1500, the Mughals, Babur and all that, then 1600, British East India Company, then British direct rule, and all of them have destroyed our ways and took away all our libraries. Even yesterday I was talking to some Vedic scholars, they were saying all the Vedas written in the leaf and all that was taken by England. What all things England took away from India. Not only the Kohinoor diamond, so many of our books. So by not recording, by transferring in their head, nothing will go. And the Veda mantra, protection of the Veda mantras, that was a responsibility of the Brahmins. That is how the Brahmins, they spent their lifetime, generation after generation after generation. And in the whole history of the world, there is no other equivalent commitment as shown by the Brahmins of the Bharatavarsha by preserving the Veda. And every scholar admits that it has been preserved without an error. How did they preserve that in this one? Not only the Veda mantra, this one, they devised 3 Prakriti ways and 8 Vikriti ways. I have given that in Appendix 2, that Prakriti ways, Samhita Pada, Pada Pada, Jata Pada, Krama Pada, then Mala, and many 8 Vikriti, a total of 11 different forms to preserve. And for example, Samhita and Pada, you break it into parts. Like for example, and then Krama, there is even now we do Kramarchana, there is gonna Krama. For example, I'll take this Vedamantra. Ganana am tva ganapatikam havamahe kavim kavina mupamastravastamam yeshtarajam brahmanam brahmanaspada anasrinvan utibissida sadhanam. So you split this into padas. Ganana am, that is one word. Tva, second word. Ganapatim is third word. Ganapati is a compound word. Then you split it and all that. So if you take 2 words together and forward and backward, that is called jada. Ganana am tva. Then the second person will, and the other side will be tva ganana, go back. And then the first person will say ganana am tva. 2 people sit together. First person will say ganana am tva. Second person will just reverse it. Tva ganana. Third person will say ganana am tva. Then next time, Ganapatikam Havamahe, Havamahe, Ganapatim, Ganapatim Havamahe, that is the Jada Pada. The Krama Pada, you take 2 each. And so the forms that we now usually chant and teach are the Samhita and the Krama. The Krama, Ganana Am Tva, Ganapatim, Ganapatikam Havamahe. And when there's a compound word, Ganapati Miti Gana Patim Havamahe Kavim Kavim Kavinam Kavinam Upamastravastamam Upamastravastamam Mityupamastravaha Amam Jeshtarajam Brahmanam Jeshtarajamiti Jeshta Rajam Brahmanam Brahmanaha Brahmanaspate Pata Anaha Nasranwan Sranwanyotibih Utibisida Utibirityudi Bihi Sida Sadhanam Sadhanamiti Sadhanam. This is the Krama form. So every mantra, Veda mantra, every Rik and every Yajur mantra, this thing. And in the Ghana, you take it, here it is 1, 2, 2, 3, 3, 4 it will go. And whenever there is a compound word, you split them into the separate way. Ganapati, Miti, Gana, Patim. So Ganapati is consisting of Gana and Pati. So all those things will be there. In the Gana form, you take 1, 2, 2, 1, 1, 2, 3, 3, 2, 1, 1, 2, 3, the same. Ganana am tva tva ganana am tva ganapatim ganapatim tva ganana am tva ganapatim tva ganapatim ganapatim tva ganapatikim havamahe ganapatim tva ganapatikim havamahe ganapati miti ganapatim. Then it will go like that Krama. So with all these, they did all these things. And in the Samaveda chanting, they had ensured that it is correctly done. They count how many things up and down. They put a number also towards the end of that. 50, 100 years ago, about in the 1950s, about 70 years ago, when this binary this thing and all, they wanted to transmit the telephonic information about 100, whenever the telephone was invented, they to ensure the binary, all these our language words are being converted into binary, and they said the 0 and 1 separately. At the receiving end, whatever sending is not match, then they drop that word to check that the parity check. All that thing 3,000 years ago our rishis have done for Samaveda, this thing. So that is how all this was preserved. So there are lot more information all of us have to correctly understand. And I wanted to share all this information with you. Now, I will close this by the Chaturveda Parayanam. And then afterwards, if there are some questions, I will take. So with these, that there is so much all of us have to understand about the Samhitas. It is not as the conventional messaging says. So I have coined at the end of the word in the book, our Veda Samhitas are spiritual documents, texts of karma with spirituality and wisdom. And they shows a way by which, by continuing whatever the jobs that we want to do professionally, you want to be a painter, you want to be a scientist, you want to be a housewife, you want to be a tax consultant, attaining perfection in whatever you do, you can rise in consciousness, get all-round perfection. Vedas shows a way that is the correct understanding, and only by restoring Vedas that we will all become. And I want to encourage everybody to, and there is no bar. Of course, we have to talk to our Acharya how to do that, even if we don't chant it like the Vadyas, that is left to them. We are still able to learn, simply calling this, invite these devas to ourselves and get the benefit of the cooperation of the devas and rishis and rise in consciousness. With this, I conclude this talk with Chaturveda Parayanam. Agnimile Purohitam Yajnasya Deva Mritvijam Hota Aram Ratnadatamam Hari Om Vishetva Jetva Vayavasta Devo Vassavita Prarpayad Sreshtatamaya Karmana Apyayadumagniya Deva Bhagamur Jaswati Payaspati Prajavati Ranamiva Ayakshmamavastena Ishadamaga Chagimso Rudrasahidi Parivo Vranato Dhruva Asmin Gobadavasyada Bhakver Yajamanasya Pashun Pahi Hari Om Agna Ayahi Vidaye Gunano Havyadadaye Yehoda Satsi Parishi Hari Om Sanno Devi Rabishtaya Apo Bhavunda Pidaye Sayor Abhistavantuna Hari Om. With this, with my prayers to Tadegam, that one, Egam Sat, to give all listeners and all of you that all your dharmic desires come true. May the devas and the rishis plant their emanations in you. May you all get rid of all the dasyus, rise in consciousness levels, attain all-round perfection in everything that you do, and may Sriman Narayan's Param Padam be available to all of you. With this, I conclude my talk.
Jai Ho, Narayan Swamiji. Jai Ho.
Thank you.
Really, I appreciate. Today being Saturday, I remember that Srinivasa's Ashtodaya Shatanamal one mantram is Nitya Yavvanamurtaye. That is the one. That Nitya Yavvanamurtaye is the one ever young. Narayan Swami is the energy, and the one I really appreciate. We are so fortunate we could see you in this video. And only few words, the words which I always wanted to say. Kriya siddhi sattve bhavati mahatam nopakarane. Kriya siddhi sattve bhavati mahatam nopakarane. The actions of great people like our Ram Narayan Swamiji are accomplished by the inner strength, not by means of resources or doing it. Now let's conclude with a Vedic blessing. Om Sri Varchasvam Ayushyam Arogyam Avidhat Dhanyam Dhanam Pasum Bahuputra Labham Seta Samhatsaram Dirghamayuh Satamanam Bhavati Satayuh Ayusevendriyai Pratithishtati सकल सन्मङ्गलानि भवन्तु आयुरारोग्य ऐश्वर्य अभिवृद्धि सिद्धिरस्तु भगवद्भागवताचार्य सेवा परता सिद्धिरस्तु उत्तरोत्तर अभिवृद्धि सिद्धिरस्तु अनेक पुण्य कार्य सिद्धिरस्तु सकल सन्मङ्गलानि भवन्तु.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. I will be extremely happy to write to all the questions. I will personally answer all the questions and send it to you.
Sure.
And if there anything, I can directly send them also. They can communicate also.
Sure.
There is a website. They can post questions, additional questions, understandingthevedas.com. They
Correct.
can go and directly send to me also from there.
We really expect that many more of your speeches will come to in the way that this is a small beginning. We will continue with you and also with Dr. Mohananandaji. Mangalam Sri Kurukshetre Ranakshoni Viharine Parthasarathi Rupaya Gita Charyaya Mangalam Bharadvaja Kulamruto Dadhividho Acharya Pidhe Situhu Srinivasa Ramanujarya Guru Aptagaman Tadvayam Tatpadarchanadharakam Manu Mani Dhyano Ullasanmanasam Ramakrishnamacharyam Asmadgurum Asmaham Bhaje Sriman Parthasarathim Gitacharyam Asmadgurum Aham Bhaje Srimannarayanacharya Asmadgurum Aham Bhaje Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinah Sarve Santu Niramaya Sarve Bhadrani Pasyantu Ma Kaschid Dukkha Bhag Bhavet Om Shanti 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 Jai Shri Shubham Bhuyat.